one of the most compelling, like, anti-BIP-110 arguments that I've heard so far is if you almost like if you don't invite what was the way to put it? Like they were saying that op return is like the most easily prunable of the ways to spam the network. And so if you don't allow it, and I don't know if invite's probably too strong of a word, but like basically they're saying you can allow people to put it here, and by doing that it's easily prunable and they're not going to go to the UTXO set or the inscriptions
Mm.
spam attacks that are more damaging. So it's not like they're saying, yeah, well, we think spam's good and we want spam on the blockchain and we want blockchain bloat. They're saying this is the least damaging location for it. And so until we find, well, I'm sort of reading into this, but until we find better ways to defend spam, against the spam in the more damaging locations, it'd be better to leave it here because it's easier to get rid of it there. What
Yes.
do you think of that?
So there's two reasons here that this is. It sounds right on the surface. One, it's the give drug addicts clean needles argument, right? We're not in favor of drug overdoses or people getting infections from stuff like that. We're not in favor of the downtown part of your city being completely uninhabitable, but it's objectively just better in a black and white sense that they use a clean needle and not a dirty needle, right? You're ignoring the context. The downtown needs to be fixed. It's a trash pile, like,
Mhm.
acquiescing to it continuing that way and saying there's nothing you can do about it, and here's how we can make little silver linings of it. That doesn't work. Ultimately, it leads to the whole thing becoming worse. You need to make sure arbitrary data in Bitcoin is kept to a minimum. Second, you're ignoring the stative motives of the people doing this. You can store data on other people's computer. Redundant data availability is a thing you can do. There are protocols that allow for it. BitTorrent exists. The only and stated reason people are using Bitcoin to store their data is because they want to harm Bitcoin. They want to trick people into storing data they don't want, who are trying to use Bitcoin as a monetary network. That being the case, they only want to do it in the most harmful ways. So giving them a trash can to use instead of throwing their litter on the floor, as is the repeated analogy, ignores who these people are and what their intention is. They want to do damage, and they've said that many, many times. They want to create as many problems as possible. Part of the reason for that is
Who
because it
who
gets them more
who is
attention.
saying that? Like, I certainly believe that there's people like that, but on the other hand, I certainly believe that there's people who are like maybe just crypto bros that are like, let me get my JPEG on the chain, or I want to try
Yeah,
this new thing on Bitcoin or whatever.
for sure. There are two people I know of. There was Mike in Space, and there's a podcast with another guy who I forget. Both of them are saying their intention is to do harm. Mike in Space specifically says we want to bloat the UTXO set because it's more harmful. And there's a very good reason they do this. It's not because they are that malicious. It's because they need to market these scams. And if they can say something inflammatory and annoying that will cause people to become outraged, it gives them more engagement. It gives them more clicks and audience. So that helps bootstrap the whole thing. Because these are scams at the end of the day. NFTs in general are scams. So getting attention for these things and bootstrapping them to the point where they can become self-sustaining attacks on Bitcoin, it requires a lot of effort because ultimately it's quite hard to get enough people to really get a Ponzi scheme, a pyramid scheme actually going. It's quite difficult to do that. You need quite a lot of people to fall for it. So if you can get a massive amount of attention by annoying people that are trying to defend Bitcoin's decentralization, that helps you. So unfortunately, the perverse incentive does exist there. So all that is why coming out with ideas like op return because it's a bit less harmful and expecting them to use it is very naive. It's technically true, but it's completely missing the point of the kinds of people we're up against here and what the courageous approach is, which is we need to filter all this stuff out by default. We can't have these people headlining the conference the main conference that exists. Like every year, the biggest Bitcoin conference in the world is treating this kind of usage of Bitcoin as valid, appropriate. It needs to be considered socially contagious. And people say, "Oh, well, that's not a technical solution." I'm like, "Sure, but it is a valid one because we got rid of Vitalik, we got rid of Ethereum by filtering out what he would do." What Vitalik wanted to do on Bitcoin was within the thick black line. It just was, it was outside of the perforated line. And that wasn't good enough for him. He said, you guys don't really want me to do this here. I feel declined. I feel like you're telling me to get out of here. I don't feel welcome. And we said, correct, you're not welcome, go away. And he did. And I can't believe that that isn't, again, an effective case study for us to draw from. If Ethereum had been built on top of Bitcoin, we would have been part of that whole thing. We would have been party to the whole disaster of it. Instead, it was gone. It was his own cluster F that happened, independently of Bitcoin. There's a little bit of contamination from the fallout because it is all crypto, but Bitcoin, not crypto. We're not able to say that when people start doing this stuff on top of Bitcoin directly. So issuing it at the social level with not watertight technical approaches that make it more difficult. All of these are very valid things to do. They do take courage and they do take nuanced understanding, knowing that none of them are perfect. But neglecting to do them all with these very crude appeals to, well, doing anything about it would be censorship, and also it would compromise Bitcoin's neutrality, as Michael Saylor has been saying, or further. It's strictly better if someone made a big op return instead of a fake pub key. So therefore it's better. Like these are all, you can view each of these as true, but you're ignoring any kind of context that makes Bitcoin a real thing with real adversaries trying to make it worse, with concerns around centralization that have to be met if the project has a real future. If it's not that, it's all just paper. It's all crypto again. Like cryptocurrency, it's decentralized, not meaningfully, right? Everyone knows that you can change most of the cryptocurrencies out there pretty much arbitrarily if you hold a gun to the head of the right guy, because they are all just centralized. Bitcoin can't end up like that. It has to actually be decentralized in a practical sense, which means you can't just make these appeals to adages like, we are censorship resistant, we are pseudonymous, we are decentralized. You can't just say those things. You have to actually prove it in practice. You have to do complicated things like have civil wars and fights and power struggles and things like that. And they need to be very messy. And that's the only way you know we're genuinely decentralized.